First of all, thank you to all of you. I'm really honored to be asked to speak in front of such a distinguished group of numismatists, fellow collectors and dealers and people that I've known for decades and some for just a few years. I have the very best job there is because I've been doing it since I was 8 years old. Can you all hear me? Can you hear me in the back? We're all okay, good. Okay, a little louder? Okay. So I grew up in Seattle. I started collecting coins when I was 8 years old. A neighbor gave me a penny book and a jar full of pennies. I was an only child, a really geeky, nerdy kid that was very insular. And so just perfect for coins. But we didn't have any money, so it was kind of hard to collect coins. But I figured out that there were kids at school that had bigger allowances than I did. And I still can't believe my mother let me do this, but when I was 8 years old, I rode the bus by myself into downtown Seattle and went to the coin store and bought pennies for a quarter that the kids at school who had bigger allowances needed for their sets, and then brought those pennies to school and sold them for 50 cents. If I could only keep the same margin today, we'd be in tall cotton. So it really helped bankroll my coin collection. I was also a very industrious little entrepreneur, mowing lawns and raking leaves and babysitting and everything I could do to earn money to add to my coin collection. And by the time I was 11 years old, I had saved $300, and one of my school teachers set up at the every so often weekend coin shows at the Seattle Center. Another thing that you wouldn't think about in 1972 is sending your 11-year-old off to share a motel room with a 40-year-old school teacher. But he was a total gentleman, and we didn't think a thing of it. And I set up as a dealer when I was 11 at the Seattle Center Coin Show and started buying and selling coins. And turned out I had a decent knack for it. And then I started running ads in the back of Coin World in the classified section. I was the first dealer. It was the first dealer to start actively buying and selling full-step Jefferson nickels. And when I was 15 years old, I sold my full-step Jefferson nickel inventory for $40,000. I got $6,000 down and then monthly payments for it. I took the first $6,000 payment and bought a new Mustang because I was about to get my learner's permit. And used that money to really launch myself in the real coin business, with apologies to full-step Jefferson nickel collectors, which David Hall still calls me Full Stepper. It's kind of a nickname that is stuck with me because I've known David. You know, one of the great things about this business is how supportive people are to young people. And David Hall and JD and Julian Liedman, all the dealers that I knew when I was really a precocious teenager that were extremely supportive and helpful. I've been happy to have had their friendship and to somehow try to be able to repay their kindness as I've gotten older. So with my newfound money from selling my Jefferson nickel inventory, I started working at a coin shop that was about 30 miles away, and I would ride the bus into working at the coin shop every Saturday, and they had a teletype system, the old green box they already had, and so I had a deal. I worked there for $2 an hour, but I got to use the teletype system for my own coin business, and I worked there all summer long, every summer from the time I was 15, 16, 17 years old. The first year, when I was 15 in 1977, I bought a wonderful collection over the counter at the store. And the dealer who owned the store thought I should take it to San Francisco to the Jack Tar Coin Show to sell it. So I went and got coins on my own from all the other dealers in the area to take, because I was going to the big show. And they all gave me coins on consignment, and I flew down. I couldn't afford to stay at the Jack Tar Hotel. I stayed at the Iroquois Motel down on Van Ness. And the next day, I had all these coins with me that I had on consignment from all the dealers in Western Washington, and I took them around, and the first thing I had was a gem 89cc dollar. And I sold that. New England Rare Coin Galleries was, of course, a big deal then. And I met Jim Halpern, now my partner, for the first time. Sold coins to Fred Sweeney, sold coins to Wayne Miller. I of course, now when I look back, I'm sure that they were just they were fabulous buys, I'm sure they were making. But at the end of the day, at the show, I had a double row box of silver dollars, and I was selling the silver dollars one at a time to Leon Hendrickson. We were the last ones there. They were making the announcements, trying to get Leon and David and I to leave the show. And we were the last ones out the door, and Leon and David said, "Do you have dinner plans tonight?" I said, "No." They said, "Well, we're going to a Tommy's joint right across the street. Please come and join us." So my very first day at an out-of-state coin show, I made $10,500 in commissions, and Leon Hendrickson and David Hendrickson took me to dinner. And I thought, it just does not get any better than this. How can I get out of high school to do this full time for the rest of my life? How am I possibly going to stand going to high school? So I got a little office. I got a little office in town. I went there every day after school. I would start going to the coin shows. I had really a terrible attendance record in high school, about 25%, because I was going to coin shows every weekend. And I was running motel buy ads and flying to LA and selling everything to A-Mark and then flying back to cover the checks before everybody took them to the bank for all the coins that I had bought the previous week, because I was in high school in 1978 and 79 when bullion prices were getting really high. Probably the best thing that I did numismatically, though, during that time was the bullion dealers all the coin shops, there was no such thing as Federal Express. So all the coin shops were buying gold and silver, and they couldn't get it shipped to the refinery fast enough to get paid for it to restock their bank account for the next week's business. And in Seattle, the biggest refinery was in Portland, Oregon. But how do you get all your silver bags and all your maple leafs and everything to the big bullion dealer in Portland, Oregon? So I devised a plan that I would make a run every Friday in my car. I would pack my car like I was going camping with a sleeping bag and with ice chests, and I would stop at all the coin shops and load the ice chests full of gold and silver bullion. And you think about the value today, and each coin shop paid me $1,000. And I got $1,000 from each coin shop, which is usually 6 or 8 coin shops. And it was every week or two, and I'd make this drive to Portland. But the very best thing was, on Saturday, I would drive back to give everybody their checks from the refinery, and they would let me look at the coins they had bought over the counter the previous week. Now, dealers like Gene Sanders and Gene Henry and Wayne Freese were all running around trying to get these coin shops to show them all the great coins they bought over the counter during the big bullion boom in 1979 and 80, but they were so busy they wouldn't ever show them anything without them being really aggressive. So I had a guaranteed appointment to look at all the best coins and learned really quite a bit, and used some of the money that I made from my little courier service to buy coins and then take them to the next big coin show.